What? You mean it's Tuesday? What happened to Monday? Oh, wait, the rookie showcase was part overlapping the weekend or something. Well, it's Tuesday, folks, and the rookie face-off has concluded. I'll have some final thoughts, some final overall thoughts on that, and how they fared against the Kings rookies on apparently Monday on this edition of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
You're Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, you guys ever get that feeling that the weekend came and gone and you don't have your timing quite right because you think the weekend was a day earlier? Well, honestly, that's kind of how my brain feels a little bit right now because typically on a rookie showcase weekend, which is what they called it, usually it ends on a Sunday. Having the rookie face-off ends on a Monday, and also the lack of sleep, among other things. Everything has thrown me for a loop, folks. But I've got my notes ready, got my rosters, player cards ready, all that stuff. So we're going to recap the entire rookie showcase on this edition of Locked On Anaheim Ducks. That's a long way getting there. But before we get started, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, which is, I think, Saturday, by the way. Is the 22nd a Saturday? Yeah, no, it's a Sunday. Now through Sunday, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Just visit fanduel.com to get started right now. So it is, in fact, Tuesday, folks. And I've got a plethora of thoughts on this entire really cool rookie face-off. First off, personal thoughts. Honored, thrilled, privileged to be just a small part of that rookie face-off. I got to do PA for a few games. That was really cool. Almost completely stepped in to another one, which I won't get into. But overall, just being in the same, I guess, vein. I mean, basically, I was the Firebirds, or I am the Firebirds PA announcer, but to be included with the Kings PA, Trevor Raybone, and the Ducks PA, the one and only Phil Hewlett. I mean, just to be included in that to me is an honor. So, thanks to both those guys for, just chatting and hanging out this weekend. All right. Overall face-off thoughts. The Ducks did play 3 games. They went 1-1-1 in those games. They won a close one against the Colorado Avs rookies. They got blown out by the San Jose rookies and lost a very close overtime game to the Los Angeles Kings rookies. That one was, yes, the game against the Avs rookies was good. I think the game against the Kings rookies was their best one of the weekend. And there were some good signs just throughout. And my biggest good sign is the offensive firepower. There's a lot of it, folks. Cutter Gauthier is, to me right now, by far the best prospect the Ducks have. And I know I was saying maybe during the trade, maybe there's a couple of better prospects that are just above Cutter Gauthier. And during the draft, I said Beckett Seneca is probably going to be up there as well. And I also thought, okay, Leo Carlson might be the best prospect. I'm here to tell you that Cutter Gauthier is beginning to surpass expectations. We only needed to see him those couple of games. He did not play in the third and final game against Los Angeles, which is why I'm not too concerned about that loss. Having him on that offensive line just adds another dimension to the Ducks game, something that they have been missing, and I am going to say this. Remember about 2 to 3 seasons ago when the Ducks yielded one of the worst offenses in the entire National Hockey League? If you recall, about 3 or 4 years ago, the Ducks, in fact, had the worst power play percentage across the entire National Hockey League, one of the worst that we've seen in a very long time. It was almost historically bad. Now, when you add Cutter Gauthier into the mix, and I fully expect him to make the Anaheim Ducks team this season, you're going to see someone that is definitely a shoot first, someone that has such a deft, dynamic shot, something that we honestly have not seen from the Ducks in a long time. When you think about Ducks players in the past, in their history, that have just a wicked, wicked shot and a very fast shot, and I'm still kind of buzzing in my head about that really blistering shot against San Jose. I jokingly said, "Oh, that thing was 200 miles an hour." It really wasn't, folks, but it may as well have been at least 100 miles per hour because that's how fast that shot felt. It was a laser. Troy Terry, for a while, was pass first. He is looking for his shot more, which is good. Trevor Zegras, there are times where he's definitely pass first, and it's shown several times. Last season didn't see it as much because he was hurt most of the season. Cutter Gauthier, for what it's worth, he's got very good patience, a very, very solid shot. I would say the shot is better than the pass from Cutter Gauthier. Not that Cutter Gauthier isn't a bad passer. I'm not saying that by any means whatsoever. But when you have that shot like that, you better damn well take it. I'm I'm hoping, this is a hope, that he can rattle off about 4, 5, 6 shots per game because it is that good. Think about it, Ducks fans. How many players in the Ducks history have had that good of a shot that you're almost confident that when they shoot it, it's going to go in? Not many, right? I mean, I think back obviously to the early days of Paul Correa, who had one of the best shots in Ducks history. Teemu Solani, arguably the best shot in Ducks history. You even go back to, of course, Corey Perry, who had a 51 season. I know some fans make fun of Corey Perry now that he's lost so many Stanley Cups, but you know what? For a time, he was one of the best shots in the National Hockey League. And other goalies did not want to see him on the other side taking a shot. They did not want to see that. Have we forgotten that? I mean, probably it's been about a dozen years, but he had one of the best shots in the entire National Hockey League, lest we forget. It's a short list. I want to say other names, but I'm afraid if I do that, I'm going to get flamed for it. So I'll ask you in the comments. You could drop me a line. Are there any surefire Ducks players that you were confident that when they shot it, it would absolutely go in? So Cutter Gauthier, a massive takeaway from this rookie faceoff. And in talking with scouts, talking with some of the fellow scribes there, I will say this. It was unanimous that pretty much all of them said, we didn't need to see him a third game. We saw everything we needed to see in those first 2 games, and that was it. So give some of the other guys a chance, which they did. And getting to see Tyson Hines in there as a defenseman, that was nice to see in that third game. As far as defense, we saw Terrence Smith make an appearance in that third game as well. Defensively, there's a couple that are massive standouts to me. Noah Warren also did not play in that third game. And I think we saw enough of Noah Warren at the start that I feel comfortable saying that Noah Warren still has a legit shot to make the Ducks out of training camp this season. Tristan Luneau wore the captain's C for 2 of those games, games 1 and 3. Cutter Gauthier wore the C for the other game. Tristan Luneau, I think for my money, is one of those players that has the capability to turn a game around defensively, both offensively and defensively. There were numerous shifts on that game against the Los Angeles Kings where he had an active stick, where he would stop a Kings player from gliding into the offensive zone very easily. That was very promising to watch. Seeing Tristan Luneau work the power play on all 3 games, that's an encouraging sign to see. So I'm going to leave this segment with this. I feel like there were more encouraging signs than not. And it really gets me believing in this Ducks team. It really does. All right, we're going to head into the first intermission right now. I will break down the final game against the Los Angeles Kings rookies. And we will get to all of that on the other side. Stay locked in, folks. And now a brief word from FanDuel. And folks, what are you waiting for? If you haven't joined FanDuel yet, then what absolutely are you waiting for? Because you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, which is, by the way, America's #1 sportsbook, #1. And we've got something a little bit different for you. Now through September 22nd, a Sunday, by the way, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. And you know what? The next 3 Sundays, there's no Ducks hockey going on. So you may as well watch some NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out of market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit fanduel.com and download America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to episode number 924 of Locked On Anaheim Ducks. Once again, you're locked in with Jason Hernandez as we're here talking about the rookie faceoff that just concluded yesterday, which was Monday, by the way. Today's Tuesday. And we're going to break down as much of that final game as possible because it was kind of a doozy, folks. And I'm going to start by showing that the rosters were different between games 2 and well, actually not showing. I mean, I have them right in front of me. I do have the roster. I have roster for game 2, roster for game 3. They're a little bit different. First line in game 2 was Nico Mijatovic, Cutter Gauthier, and Sam Colangelo. Gauthier and Colangelo were out for the third and final game. So that first line consisted of Igor Sidorov, Kerry Terrance, and Colson Petra. Interesting first line. Nico moved down to the second line with Alex Blaze and Jackson Weeb. And Sasha Pastujov went down to the third line with Ruslan Gaziazov, who is a camp invite. That's his first game. And Ethan Procision, who did not see any action the game before as well. Tristan Luneau did play, but he moved down to the second line. Noah Warren did not play. He was out. So in came Terran Smith, and also Tyson Hines got some playing time. So Tyson Hines was 61 on the roster. They just swapped out nameplates. That's what happened. And also we saw Michael McIver for the first time. So I'll talk more about him in a second. Okay, I actually learned the pronunciation yesterday while I was over there. So it's Vyacheslav Butayets. That's actually how you pronounce his last name is Butayets. I've heard people say like, V Booty or Booty being one of the nicknames that I've seen online. Okay, I need to ask, is that actually his nickname? Let me know in the comments. Let me know for sure on Twitter X. Like, is Booty actually his nickname, or is it a nickname that the fans came up with? I'm really curious now. But nonetheless, so that's what the overall roster looked like. While the Kings, they still trotted out Liam Greentree. They still trotted out Brant Clark. They still trotted out Eric Portillo. So they were pretty much all hands on deck on this one. Yeah, Francisco Pinelli also in there. Bryce Brodzitsky in there. So the Kings weren't really missing a whole lot. The Ducks were missing 3 of their biggest guns. So I didn't expect a whole lot from the Ducks on this game when I saw the roster that was trotted out. That being said, there was a lot of big hits on this game because you still had Tyson Hines, you still had Terrence Smith, you still had Radwan Dionisio, who's a very good defenseman, top pairing with Tyson Hines on this one. And of course, you have Connor Smith, who has already gotten in 2 fights previous to this game. Big body. In the first period, Ducks were just, swarming around Carter George, who started the game for the Los Angeles Kings. Big shots, big hits, but no score. But not before there was a big fight between Connor Smith and John Parker Jones of the Los Angeles Kings. The tail of the tape. I have it right in front of me. John Parker Jones, 6'7", 230. Connor Smith, 6'6", 210. He looks heavier than 210, folks. So very similar heights. Jones, a little bit of weight on him, but both combatants put up some big punches on this one. I said it was a spirited fight. It was a long fight. It really was. And they were still chirping with each other in the penalty box afterwards. So that was pretty fun to watch, but no score after 20 minutes. Defensively, this was one of the Ducks' best games of the entire tournament. I was very impressed with Tristan Luneau once again on the defensive end. Very impressed with his active stick. Very impressed with his neutral zone play. Tristan Luneau, I think, is going to be a guy. And what I mean by that is he could crack the roster this season for Anaheim, not San Diego. Just a very aware player. Last season, he did spend some time in the NHL, and that was before, stuff happened. So Tristan Luneau, I'm very high on him. Actually, I take that back. Luneau did not, in fact, play with the Anaheim Ducks. I'm actually thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of Noah Warren. So Warren started the season. Tristan Luneau did play some games as well, and he played a few with the San Diego Gulls as well. And I'm going to backtrack here because I thought I was wrong about this, but I was right the first time. So Luneau did play 7 games for the Ducks this past season, did get 3 points. I'm high on Warren. I'm high on Luneau. I don't know which defenseman I'm higher on. If you were to just stop me in the street and force me to answer, who do you like better, Noah Warren or Tristan Luneau? I don't know. They were both good in this tournament. I loved Luneau on this third game, particularly this third game. So it was still 0-0. And it was 0-0 for a while until we had Francesco Pinelli scored on a really nice assist from Cole Krieger, making it 1-0 Kings. And that was right in the middle of the second period. So it took a while to get that first goal. And then a big fight towards the end of that stretch. Corbin Vaughn and Jackson Weeb. Now, those guys threw down. They threw some effing haymakers on this one. And when I mean haymakers, I mean they were wide punches left and right. I mean, I didn't know which way they were going on this one, but that was one of the more entertaining fights of the afternoon. By the way, Corbin Vaughn, where is he? There he is. 6'205". Jackson Weeb, 6'1", 203. So another even match as far as height and weight, but I give Weeb the slight advantage on that fight. Very slight. Then in the middle of the game, we had a very significant change in net, and that was Michael McIver going in net for Anaheim. Butayets saved 10 of 11 shots in about 28 and a half minutes. So it was a solid outing, a much better outing. He was tracking the puck a little bit better, and also the defense was behind him better on this game as well. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Specifically, Butayets was good, but McIver, he was solid on this game. So a little bit about Michael McIver. He did play last season with North Bay Battalion. And in fact, at the time that McIver was going in, I switched over to a different part of the stands. And hopefully someone that I will bring on to the podcast. I'll throw a shout out here. Emily Wilson, who is now part of Sporting Tribune. We were observing McIver throughout the rest of that second period because he was on our end. And just a very solid goalie. He looked good overall, looked calm in the net. McIver is young. He is only 18 years old. Will probably go back to juniors this season. But last year, he went on a bit of a run with the North Bay Battalion, making it all the way to the semifinals of the OHL before falling in 7 games, I believe, to Oshawa, if I remember correctly. But he did bring North Bay to a long playoff run. So he's got some pressure experience. And in this kind of situation, he was fine. He was very, very good. So I liked what I saw there. And he was just calm and cool. Power plays. That's where there was a bit of trouble with the Ducks. Power plays just were not clicking a whole lot. Part of it, he was a stonewalled by both Carter George and Eric Portillo did enter the game, and Portillo was just money on this game once again. I expect him to be one of the better goaltenders for the Ontario Reign this season. Kings did lead 1-0 after 40 minutes. And then we had penalty shots, by the way. Tyson Hines had a penalty shot. He was denied by Eric Portillo. Then the Kings had a penalty shot. That was also denied. So we had a bit of back and forth on penalty shots here. But you know what? Still 1-0 until now. I did this on purpose. I did make a tweet out, and some Kings fans did not like that I said that Eric Portillo still has a shutout. I said this kind of like not loudly, but I kind of said it like, well, he still has a shutout. A couple people heard that. Yeah, I know. And a little bit after I said that, the Ducks tied it up, and Colson Petra literally with a diving goal, making it 1-1, just as regulation was going to end. And Blaze and Luno got the apples on that one. Then late in third period, Kings thought they jammed one in, but the play was whistled dead. Refs immediately said no goal. So on we go to overtime. And in overtime, Niko Mijatovic did a great job of stopping a 2-on-1 from the breaks. McIver stood tall against an Otto Jamson shot, but at the very end, with about a minute left, Quinn Olsen scored the game-winning goal, and it was like a broken play too. There was a shot on net, went right off the pads of McIver, and right on McIver's right, there was a little bit of loose change. Quinn Olsen picked it up, game-winning goal. Kings won it 2-1 in overtime. Super greasy goal to end that one, but I cannot be too sad about that because it took some kind of greasy goal for that one to end. That's kind of what it was about on that one. All right, we're going to head into the second intermission. I'm going to talk a little bit more about just my overall thoughts. What did we learn? And is this the beginning of an upswing for the Anaheim Ducks? We'll get to that on the other side. There we go. Welcome back to Locked On Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. All right. So what did we learn? We learned a few things. Cutter Gauthier is going to be a star among stars for the Anaheim Ducks. He has the potential to be a star in this league. What else did we learn? We learned that the Ducks are going to have some tough decisions. And I'm going to start with the tough decision on goaltending. Callie Klang was very capable in the action that we saw him in game one. They did sign Oscar Dansk, but he looked fine. As far as Butayets, I guess I can throw this out there. So I talked with Peter Budaj, the goaltending coach, for a few minutes, and he had some good things to say about Butayets. First off, this is his first action in North America ever. So the sight lines are different, but he looked much more composed in game 3 than he did in game 2. And Budaj gave him nothing but praise, especially, being plucked from Chelyabinsk in Russia and then coming to America for the first time, the first extended time rather that he's come to America. So I could imagine it's a massive adjustment. I would expect him to probably spend some time in the ECHL first before moving up to the AHL. So he will get those adjustments. They're going to have some big decisions on defense. Who out of the two makes the roster? Tristan Luno, Noah Warren. This is a tough decision, folks. And again, if it were up to me, I don't want to make like any rash decisions here because Noah Warren just played in World Juniors. Warren hasn't played in the NHL yet, but he looked good. He looked really good here. Tristan Luno, I think, looks a little bit more polished, but I say give Warren one full season in San Diego if I were to choose between the two. Although the way that like there was some like just little murmurings, Warren was very impressive. He was probably more impressive in the first couple of games for the Ducks than Luna was overall. So, gosh, I am really curious. But one of those two should make the roster. Should. So that's going to be tough. And then what do you do with some of the wingers? So, I mean, that's one thing that we learned. Another thing that we learned is that the Ducks, just overall as an organization, they need to learn to still be a little bit more disciplined. Now, I know that the makeup of the roster is a bit more bruising. There are some bigger bodies. Okay, few things. One, there are bigger bodies. Two, they are not afraid to brawl when needed. Three, they're definitely not afraid to hit. Now, unfortunately, with that comes penalties. With that comes a lot of penalties. We saw this throughout the first three games, or the three games in the rookie faceoff. And penalty killing, still a bit of an issue. The penalty kill overall across the three games still does need some improvement. There was some pretty solid improvement on the neutral zone. So that I did like a lot. I also just love the fact that the Ducks are not, especially the baby ducklings, they're not afraid to throw around. There's a lot of skill for the youth on this team. I think overall, and I'm going to go overall in the entirety of the rookie faceoff, I got a little bit of heat from this from a couple people that I said that San Jose might have the better prospect pool now. After seeing all the prospects in action, I might double down on that. I think San Jose finally overtook the Ducks as far as being the top prospect pool in the National Hockey League. I go Sharks 1, Ducks 2, everybody else 3 to 32. The Ducks still have, like, don't let what I said be a detriment. The Ducks still have a top 3 prospect pool. Let me repeat that one more time. The Ducks still have a top 3 prospect pool. They are very skilled. They are very good. Cutter, I mentioned. Alexander Blaze, I liked a lot. I didn't talk a whole lot about Niko Mijatovic, so I'm going to right now. Mijatovic, very good on his edges, very good stick work. Faked out a couple of guys, liked his game a lot. Rodwin Dionisio, another solid defenseman with great offensive upside. So what I learned about Dionisio is that he is ready to graduate into at least the American Hockey League. I expect him to be a San Diego goal this season. I just don't think there's room for him with Anaheim right now. And I think there is room for him in San Diego as well. Connor Smith probably will have another year in juniors. He's only 19 years old, but gosh, I cannot wait to see him in San Diego. He's going to be fun to watch. Gosh, who am I missing here? Oh, okay. Igor Sidorov. Sidorov had some fancy skating moves throughout the entire weekend. I loved Sidorov's game. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Sam Colangelo, who didn't play the final game. Sam, I think, is one of the best all-around prospects that the Ducks have. He will likely be starting for the San Diego Gulls this season. Probably winds up as a top 6 by the end of the season in San Diego. And I'm going to finish with one of my guys, Sasha Pastujov. Pasta was impressive in all 3 games. He wore a letter throughout this rookie faceoff, deservedly so. With that said, the final question that I have on this side, is this the start of the upswing? I say yes. This is going to be the beginnings of a run for the Anaheim Ducks. I did a podcast about a month ago where I ranked the top 8 teams in the division, and I did not have the Ducks last. I did not have them second to last. I had Calgary and San Jose 7-8. I have the Ducks 6th in the division this season. I think they're going to improve by at least 15 points this season. That is kind of like my prediction for the Ducks this upcoming season. So this is going to be an upswing, and this is going to be a time for the Ducks to really make some market improvements. So hopefully you guys agree with me on this. And that's what I've got as far as the rookie faceoff. I will be talking more about the rookie faceoff, hoping and planning to have some guests on this week and next week as we ramp up towards the preseason training camp, the start of the regular season. It's coming up pretty fast, folks. So stay tuned for all of that. In the meantime, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, this podcast is free and available across all platforms, including Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, all that jazz. You can follow me on Twitter X at StimpyJD. The show's Twitter X is at LO_Ducks. Thanks for making this your first listen of the day. And you know what? For your second listen, go check out Locked On NHL. We've got some local experts talking about some of their biggest storylines ahead of the season, and also other training camps going on and other rookie faceoffs going on across North America. And once again, thank you all so much for your continued support. Just thank you so much. And also thanks to everyone that I met out in El Segundo this weekend. It was a blast, and can't wait to talk more Ducks hockey this season. By the time this comes out, it's going to be late Tuesday night. So it'll be a late Tuesday episode and then an early Wednesday episode. So that's what's going on there as far as the schedule is concerned. What a weekend, folks. And by weekend, I mean Friday through Monday. It's Tuesday. Thank you all so much. Again, thank you. For Locked On Anaheim Ducks, I'm Jason JD Hernandez saying have a great rest of the night, morning. Please remember to be safe out there. Please be kind to one another, and Ducks, fly together. It really is Tuesday, isn't it? Man.